Hey, Tyler here again. This time let's take a look at the art. So we're set up in the same way as before, only difference is I've changed to track 8, really just to mix up the color and add some variation. So to get started, I'm going to add a chord to the first trig so that we can hear the art play. Here's a little hint that I didn't show last time, but while you're in trig focus mode, you can press any of the empty trigs to quickly change the length. So now it's playing the entirety of the bar. So now if I go up into my ARP, every track has its own ARP available to it. Every pattern also sets a completely different ARP. So each track and each pattern equals a unique ARP. When you start, the ARP works really fundamentally like every other ARP, especially just using these two parameters up here. In the style, you can select the way your ARP's going to play. You have the up, down, chord, and a step mode, which I'll cover at the end of the video. You can then select the rate, anywhere between 1 to 1/32 bars, and we'll press play and you can hear that going. To add variation to the ARP, you have this 16-step ARP sequencer below. So you can change the number of steps here. You can also apply choke. Each step can be selected with these arrow keys. And using the box on the left, you can change their shift value between, down 3 octaves to up 3 octaves. You can also press the pad to mute the step. On the block on the right, you can offset the velocity. So you can see here, now it will play a really high note pretty quietly right at the start and then go normal. Or whoops, I guess a louder note, but now it's quiet. So using this and going up to 16 steps, you can really start to add a lot of variation to your art patterns. Of course, though, it can be kind of cumbersome to deal with 16 steps and a bunch of arrow keys, so I've added this advanced edit mode. While you're in advanced edit mode, your sequencer on the left represents the 16 possible steps of the ARP sequence, and your keypad on the right represents the shift value. The top 8 buttons will shift from, no shift to up to an octave, depending on how many keys are in your scale. And the lower 8 will shift down, a step to down an octave. You can also press these arrow keys on the right to add or subtract an octave from the adjusted value. Pressing anywhere on the sequence selects the active step for edit. And we can, change the number of steps by selecting here. You can see I've already done a little variation and added that to it, or added a little variation to the ARP. But again, we can press any of these to change it. So really fast way to edit your ARP sequences. The last mode that I really want to cover, and is the step mode. So this one is fundamentally different than the other ARP modes in that you're not telling it with the ARP step sequencer, you're not telling it how much to shift. Instead, you're saying what note of the chord you want to play. Because there can be 8 notes in each trig, you can go anywhere between 1 and 8. It effectively works the same in terms of how you edit it and the availability of velocity. If you add, a value greater than the number of chords, or greater than the number of notes running into the ARP, then it will play the highest note. So you can see it's playing a lot of the first one because that's most of the pattern, but then at the start, it's gonna hit this 7. So this is another way to add a different type of variation using the ARP. Right now, I would say the ARP is kind of in its infancy. I have a lot of ideas for how to build it out and make it a real powerhouse. I know that there's a lot of really clever ARPs out there, and I definitely haven't been able to get my hands on all of them. So if there's features or functionality that you've used in ARPs that you adore and can't live without, please share them with me. I would love to figure out a way to incorporate them into this. I see the ARP as being if the sequencer is the foundational element that ensures that you can build a song, the ARP is the funness around it. It's the joy, the experimentation. It's going to be a lot of the randomization and the glitter that I think, I just love it. What else can I say? So I hope you do too. Again, have fun with it. If you have any questions, shoot me a message and we'll figure it out. Thank you.